And joining us this morning for Making Connections, our interview segment, is Naja Christmas. What a cool name. And she's also got a pretty cool career history as well. She first worked as a personal trainer for over 10 years and then played football for the Los Angeles Temptations. Then she decided to come to Korea to study law at Yonsei University. So we'll hear about her story and the connection between sports, her new studies, and with research focusing on the intersectionality between African and Korean diaspora here in the country. So good morning, Naja, and welcome to Life Abroad.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on the show. And we like to get to know you a little bit and also what your connection to Korea is. So could you just maybe briefly introduce yourselves and about your cool name as well and your background maybe a little bit?
Oh, of course. Hello, my name is Naja Christmas. And my background here in Korea is with studies, right? I'm here at Yonsei, but I've been here for many years in the sense that I've come and visited multiple times over the years. So I feel a strong connection to Korea.
Let's also ask you about your name. Is that your given name? It's a very cool name, Naja Christmas.
Yes, that's my given name.
Wow. Okay. I've never heard of anyone with a last name of Christmas or even Naja, to come to think of it as well. So, where is that related to your background? Your Japanese Bermudan background?
So I'm a blended child. I'm a mixed kid. I'm actually named after a cobra. It's a bit of a funny story.
Naja?
Naja is a cobra from India, and my dad actually got bit by this cobra. So I don't know what the arrangement was, but I ended up being named Naja after that cobra.
Wow.
So maybe that was a bit of an experience for him, and he decided to.
It's a beautiful name,
Thank
though.
you,
He was bit by you, I guess, right? That's a really cool name. Okay, so you say you've been to Korea many times, or you've been here for a long time as well. What's your connection?
Yeah, so I originally graduated middle school in the States really early. I tested out of 4th grade and 6th grade. So my dad decided, okay, we need to prep you some way for the high school years and get you ready for college. And so we looked at programs here. And then so I ended up doing some work here to prep for high school in Korea.
Your dad is not Korean, though, is he?
No.
Why Korea, then? I understand it's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
the schooling environment here can be pretty extreme, but did you go to a Korean school?
Yeah, I ended up.
did?
Yeah, so my best friend at the time was coming back to Korea for high school, so it was just an opportune time for me to tag along. So it just ended up working out.
Okay, and you enjoyed it when you were here?
Oh yeah,
during those years?
I really enjoyed early exposure. I really think it's important to give children early exposure to multiple cultures.
Very true.
Yeah.
So that makes you, I guess, fluent in Korean as well?
Ooh, we're getting there. My TOPIC score would disagree, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
All right. Well, I noticed your T-shirt. I mean, if you're joining us on YouTube, listeners, you'll notice that she has a T-shirt with it, 행복하세요, and I love that as well. Very positive vibes. Let's talk a little bit about their career path, I guess, because you have kind of gone from here to there. Let's start with you working as a personal trainer for over a decade. This was back in the U.S., right? Or is it here in Korea?
Yeah, I worked as a trainer.
Did you always love sports, and was this something that that you were working to do, or or how did you get into sports? And I understand that the gym that you also worked at is kind of very unique as well. You incorporate martial arts into working out?
Yes, I worked at a facility that was martial arts focused. And that was their primary structure. So for many years, I did the office work type situation. As soon as I got out of, started working, I was working in an office.
What did you major in?
What did I major in? Oh, I'm Asian American studies, East Asian cultures, and Korean lit and cultures.
Okay.
So yeah.
Got it.
A lot of focus on Asian studies and research. So I knew eventually I would have to segue away from that career. I mean, I did do all of the, courses associated with being a coach and a trainer.
Okay.
But when I was working in the office position, it just wasn't satisfying to me. It was not for everyone. So I wanted to find a field that I could work in that gave me the flexibility to still study in the rigorous manner that I wanted to, but to help people. And fitness allows you to change people's lives by helping them blossom into the person they actually can be with full confidence. So
Right.
I love it.
You love it. I'm sure, yeah, and you see the changes right in front of you, right? I guess as well. But
Exactly.
and then you worked as a personal trainer for 10 years. Which martial arts, by the way, was it Taekwondo or kind of a mixture of all the martial arts?
My focus, my focus was always BJJ and kickboxing. So that was my primary. And then I did Olympic style lifting as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you must be kind of a natural when it comes to picking up different sports as well, because those seem very different.
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty athletic.
And pretty, and they're not like, for, I guess, beginners starting out with sports as well. But then you transitioned to becoming a football player. I mean, and when I mean football, I mean kind of like not American football, but like soccer, right?
No, American football.
American football. Oh my goodness, I did not know. Okay,
full contact.
So a full contact. And you were playing for the team for how long?
I played for 6 seasons.
Los Angeles Temptations. Okay, and how was that like?
Yeah, that was pretty.
So you have the full gear, like I guess the same as the male teams or the men's teams?
Our gear is significantly smaller than the male's team.
But it's still basically the same rules and full contact.
Same rules, yes. 11 on 11. So 11 on 11 is standard, and we were 7 on 7.
Okay. And how did you enjoy that? You played for 6 seasons.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Bonding. Team sports is very good with bonding and building camaraderie and learning to interact with different people and to manage the stressors of a team dynamic. I think it really helped me grow as a person.
But there are lots of team sports. There's just the regular football like soccer.
Yes.
There's lots of non-contact sports as well. I mean,
That's
football, American football is very different. And I would say like the sports that you seem to have been kind of engaged in, whether you're training and helping people learn them or not, they're not your very typical sort of run-of-the-mill sports. Is there a special reason for this?
Funny story with the football. I actually was there for moral support. I did not come to try out for that team at all. I was coming with my friend, and she said, please come with me. I'm so scared.
She was an athlete, or she was on the team?
She was trying out for the team, and she's like, come with me, please. And I was like, okay, great. I'm just going to sit there, and I'll wait, and you let me know when you're ready to leave. And then my coach, my now coach, but...
Right.
said, you over there standing around, what are you doing? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just here for moral support. I'm not trying out. And he's like, get in the line. And I was like, okay.
You were scouted.
Yeah, so I ended up just being normal. I was like, I'll just do it passively. I won't go too hard. But then I got in the line. I was like,
and you charged.
Yeah. So unfortunate story though for her, because I ended up making the team and she didn't. She got cut.
This sounds all too familiar, but usually this is kind of like for a tryout for music, we hear about these stories where this girl was trying out or a guy was trying out to become an actor or a musician, and it's usually the friend that makes it instead of them because they're just like shining and they've got all this charisma. But this is what happened. Are you still friends with her? She must have been grateful though, in a way that...
We're gonna say that we're not that close anymore.
Okay. So from all of that, where you learned the great nature of teamwork, and I think with sports, a lot of women who do make very successful careers, whatever they do have this kind of history of engaging in team sports, whether it was at school or, even after graduating, either high school or university. It's this kind of sportsmanship or just sense of competition that I think maybe a lot of girls traditionally were not kind of raised to engage in those kind of sports or to be naturally competitive. We're more kind of taught to be cooperative, and be helpful. But this kind of sense of just healthy competitiveness and healthy competition, losing and winning, and then also being part of a team, that does seem to help in one's career as well. So from that, how do you transition to studying law at Yonsei? That is what you're studying here, right?
Yes, I have I'm doing my law courses here, and I'm also doing my Korean studies requirements here.
Okay. And what made you decide to, say goodbye to sports or, as a career anyways, and to come on this very different path? I mean, studying law is very challenging too, right?
Yes, that's true. I think one thing that sports in general and team sports especially helps you with is to learn to have a sense of grit, a sense of determination and focus and being ambitious and being able to push into what you truly want to do in life. When you can narrow that down, these paths don't seem so difficult. They don't seem so rigorous because you've already conditioned your body to be strong. And so if you can condition your body to be strong, you can also shape your mind to be strong. And that mental toughness is what will help you push through anything. So when I was transitioning into, a longer path, because I don't want just this degree, I also want a PhD, right? So when you start looking at that, you're like, wow, that is a 5, 6, 7 year commitment. Will I be able to do it?
Right.
Of course you can do it because you're gonna be here anyway. You're gonna be living this life anyway. So go after the things that you want in this life. Really push for those things. And I think that's a beautiful thing about being raised in an environment where academics and athletics play a role because you learn to be strong on all sides.
Exactly.
So these paths there's nothing to discourage you because you already know you have the power, that you have the power within you to do anything in this life that you want to do.
Beautifully said. I think I completely agree. When you do work out and then you achieve certain goals, whether it's lifting another weight or whatnot, you set these goals and then physically you're able to achieve them, and it builds up your mental strength as well and your confidence and puts you in a better mood as well. And so you feel like you can do anything. You have the confidence to do that as well.
Absolutely.
Law, this is because you want to continue helping others as well, I guess.
Exactly.
And you're learning Korean, so you want to stay in Korea and pursue a legal profession here.
Yes. So I want to be able to do consulting in Korea. I obviously need to learn Korean with 100% proficiency because we live in Korea, so that's a part of it. I think it's very important to learn the language of the country you're committing yourself to because people shouldn't have to accommodate you. You should be able to integrate into the system.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Exactly.
That's what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
But you can also bring something a little special too, right?
Exactly. But
something that's a little naja.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to this new path, and I think it's important because, I represent these two different ethnic groups, and I see how they can blend together. And I also have experienced, coming from the States, how those groups can also be negatively affected by the judicial system. So when pursuing law, I wanted to become a shield. In many ways, as a coach, I felt like I shielded my clients from these negative things, and I helped them be able to push themselves to get to a better place. As an athlete and as a team, because I was on defense, I was like, I have to protect this line. I need to make sure that our offense can continue to move forward and their offense doesn't move forward. And in law, it just feels like a smooth transition to continuing my work of being a shield to people who need it, anyone who needs it, because I believe in the unity of everybody, and we're all human beings, and we should all work together to uplift one another. So
Really nice message. I mean, for an outsider, someone who doesn't know your story, like maybe some of our listeners, they may think that you've kind of diverged and kind of taken all these kind of drastic turns in your life. But there is that common theme where you always wanted to protect and help others. And that has been throughout your career in whatever you did. And it seems like it's going to continue as well. What has been the most challenging for you then? I mean, it seems like you're a very optimistic, very strong, very focused person. But I imagine the pandemic hasn't made stuff easier or life easier in your studies as well. What's been kind of like the most challenging thing for you in the past year or so, or your time here in Korea now?
Well, let's see. The most challenging thing I would say in the past year or so has definitely just been watching how the pandemic affected so many people, so many people I know personally.
Yeah.
And with yourself, it can attack one's mind to be isolated, to be, we were quarantined for so long. So just watching people who started businesses lose their businesses, to watch people who were in rigorous programs and then just slowly see their grades drop. Like these things are, I mean, it was a very, very tough situation for so many people.
Right.
But it reaffirmed to me why it's so important to find the path that you want to be on. Find something that you can push for every day, so that it's when it's your path, you will always find a way to continue to move forward. And I think for a lot of students and a lot of workers, it showed so many people that they weren't on the path that they wanted to be on. They weren't on the path that they loved. So in these moments of weakness, it was very hard for them to get themselves up and push through it. So the pandemic taught a lot of people a lot of different things.
That's true. I think a lot of us spent more time kind of looking inward and inspecting what we wanted and examining our life, people, or what we're doing, if that's really right for us. So these were challenging times where we had no control over these things, but we have control over what we can do. And I think that might be your message for us. I want to thank you, Naja Christmas, for coming in today and sharing your story with us. Best of luck with your studies and everything that you do. Hopefully we can meet again as well.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.